Hello, how is everyone today? So, the plan for today is continue playing Cinderella now and Evermore. This time we are going to start Fritz's best ending. So, yeah, let's just switch and go. Maybe I should. Maybe I should have put 18 plus because last time was something. I love this. Remember, good things come to those who wait until midnight. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a princess. She was known as the Ice Princess, named for her frigid heart and unwilling coldness toward others. The princess shunned all who sought to help her. She was scared to go out into the world, so she locked herself up in her palace. Then, one day, the Ice Princess became the victim of a famous fairy tale curse and was forced to go from riches to rags. As the princess struggled to come to terms with her new life, she met a very special man. The two endured much strife, helping each other overcome various ordeals. In the end, they emerged victorious. The special man towed the princess' ice-cold heart and dried her dampened spirits. The two vowed to love each other for the rest of the time. They lived happily ever after. But what came after happily ever after? The knights in no armor. And this is why, on this day, I'm stepping down from my honorable position as commander of the Order of Caldera. Fritz is standing on a small podium erected just outside the front gate, his expression somber as he gazes at the large gathering of knights. He has already given his resignation speech to the majority of the lower-ranking knights. The lower-ranking knights, this is just for ceremony purpose. I stand at the edge of the gate, arms crossed as I watch the proceedings. My heart ought to be filled with hope, but I am more anxious than I have been in years. I cannot shake the feeling that Fritz is doing this because of me. It has been 2 years since Fritz Ivan Leverton, a personal knight, was promoted to the position of commander. Father bestowed the title and responsibility upon him after seeing how he acted during the crisis with Mother. Fritz possessed the required skill and ability to lead, even if he did sometimes require my assistance, and on account of his initial clumsiness. The new responsibilities pulled Fritz away from me. It has been like this for nearly 2 years, even though the two of us see each other when we can. They say distance makes the heart grow fonder, but in this case, I stare hard at Fritz. There is nothing soft about the look on his face. That is why it is an honor for me to promote Julian Valiente, my second in command, the head commander. I expect you to treat her the same respect you have shown me. Julian moves forward to stand beside him when he gestures. Sir Fitzgerald? A flicker of smile passes over Fritz's face. Sir is a little stiff, don't you think? Julian smiles at him. There is a subtle sadness in her eyes, though I cannot imagine why. The proceedings go on for some time after that. It is only when the ceremony has drawn to a close that I head back to the palace for one of my mandatory lessons. I'm relieved when my tutor dismisses me early. Maybe now I'll be able to catch Fritz? I'm on my way to the palace gates when I stop, noticing Fritz and Julian at the end of the corridor. The minute Fritz sees me, his lips pull back into a gentle smile. Princess, I was wondering when you'd appear. Good afternoon, Princess Iviana. Good afternoon, Julian Valiente, commander of the Order of Caldera. Julian laughs. It still sounds like such a mouthful. It's shortened than Lieutenant Commander of the Order of Caldera, Atlas. A fair point. I hope you know I'll still be asking for your advice every now and then, Fritz. I hope you don't mind. Of course not. It's the least I can do after putting this responsibility on you so sudden. But now, no titles, no obstructions, right? She smiled at the two of us. You two have all the time in the world to spend together. Or a lot more of it, in any case. She pauses to look between us. May I ask you something? Of course. Being able to be with the princess isn't the only reason you resign me, is it? What makes you say that? Before I can react, Fritz wraps an arm around my waist and pulls me closer. The princess has always been my top priority. The words are accompanied by a mischievous grin. I'm equally stunned and embarrassed. Julian stares between the two of us with wide eyes. When Fritz sees her expression, he pulls his arm away with a laugh. Sorry, princess, sometimes I just can't help teasing. These little comments of Fritz have become more common over the past 2 years. I believe, more than anything, he speaks like this more often now because he's more comfortable around me. You two really have changed, haven't you? Both of you. I know that she's right, but she's looking primarily at Fritz when she says this. But was the princess really the only reason, Fritz? Though Fritz continues to smile, I can see something twitch in his expression. I have known him long enough to see behind this confident facade. I can now read Fritz's true emotions from his small gestures. No, it is not the only reason. I think back to the jeering crowds and the agitated townfolks. I remember the way people protested Fritz's promotion to commander because of his previous involvement with Mother. I can still remember what they call him out in the streets. A wolf wearing a man's skin, a spy, a traitor. But Fritz only smiles. Sure, there were other reasons, but being with the princess has always been the most important. I miss being her personal knight. Julian eyes him skeptically for a few moments, but in the end, she only shakes her head and smiles. I'm glad for the two of you, then. She excuses herself after that, explaining that she has a speech to prepare as a newly promoted commander. The moment she leaves, the corridor becomes quiet. Oh my god. How many saves already? Okay. You normally don't congratulate someone on resigning, but Fritz claims this is what he wants. Thank you, princess. With this, you'll have no more obligation to the order. Oh, I forgot I have this in here. I was like, what is falling? No, just to you. He steps forward, and in that brief moment of closeness, leans down to plant a kiss on the top of my head. These public displays of affection have always been taboo. The only time Fritz is ever intimate with me is when we were alone. He grins at me, almost mischievously. Her royal dignified highness is blushing. I poke his shoulder. I'm not. Fritz only laughs. It is good to see him being less formal. Sometimes, when he teases me, I cannot help but remember the other side of him. The masked man with a sly smile. It is a side of him that he hides from most people, but not from me. So Varg is there. I know it. Anyway, with his resignation, I'm finally unleashed myself from the order. His gaze seems unfocused when he looks away, almost like he's remembering something. I'm never going to let anyone else rule my life ever again. Fritz? His expression softens when he looks at me. It's nothing. I'm all yours now, princess. Well, almost. But first, I have something I need to do. Care to tag along? I smile when he holds out his arm. I do not mind the stares we get from the passing servants as I loop my arm around through his and lean on his shoulder. By all means, lead on. The two of us make our way to the throne room together. Just as I expected, the king is waiting for us. He has already cleared his schedule to make time for this personal audience with Fritz. Ow! My elbow. If the two of you are here, I'm going to assume that the ceremony has come to a close. Fritz releases my arm to duck into a bow. That is correct, Your Majesty. I am no longer with the Order of Caldera. All that remains is for me to return the required documents and decorations of my position. Father looks at Fritz thoughtfully. Then he smiles. I would like to personally thank you for your dedication to this kingdom, Sir Fitzgerald. I apologize for having the responsibility of commander onto you when you were still so young. Fritz's lips twitch. I look at him quizzically, not entirely certain if I was imagining the scowl on his face. No apologies are necessary, Your Majesty. It was, and has always been, an honor to serve Angel. It was an honor to have a man as dedicated and committed as you leading the order. Now, Father stands surprising us both. Though I am afraid it will not be as grand as knighting you with a sword. I will insist that I reward you for all your hard work. Hi Giga, how are you? Thank you for the lurk as usual. I've been doing okay. Thank you. From this day forward, I bestow you upon the title of Lord. I would also give you a stretch of lands. You may do with it whatever you desire. Fritz shifts on his feet. His fidgeting is a sure sign he has something he wants to say. The king seems to notice. Thank you for your redeems. What say you, Sir Fritz? I required no land, your majesty. I still have my father's men, but if I may be so bold, I would like to make a request. A request? Fritz and I share a glance. State your request, Sir Fritz. Fritz falls to one knee and bows his head. Your Majesty, I humbly request that I be allowed to publicly court your daughter, Princess Diana. This news seems to take father aback. Stare at him, confused. But he already knows that Fritz and I love each other. Why is this a surprise? Father lowers himself to his throne once again, his movements oddly stiff. Fritz is still bent to one knee, his head ducked in deference. The room is eerily silent. When no one rises to meet the challenge of the quiet, I clear my throat and speak first. Father? I apologize. Even Fritz looks up at this. Your Majesty? I give you my blessing, Sir Fritz. You are more than free to court my daughter. It is her decision whom she chooses after all. However, other expression falls. I know what he's going to say before he even says it, and it makes my heart sink. Public opinion is not so easily sold. There is no doubt in my mind that your displays of affection will be criticized. Father tilts his head toward me. Do you understand my meaning, Diana? As loath as I am to admit it, I do. There is a fragile balance in our kingdom right now. The magic that once existed is now completely gone. The witches and even some of the fairies blame me for its loss. Winning over the humans has already been difficult enough, though most of the townfolks in NGL are now courteous to me. Many of them still do not trust me. And Fritz? Many people still believe he is to blame for many of Mother's atrocities. Despite the things he's done to make up for it, they still choose to blame him, even knowing he was cursed the entire time. There will be undoubtedly be bad rumors if the two of us publicly courted. I understand what you mean, but it does not affect my feelings. We are trying to rekindle the people's trust in us. I'll make them trust me. Fritz rises and stares adamantly at the king. I've been dedicated to this kingdom ever since I became a knight, and I still am. That will never change, not even if... He falters, but only briefly. My point is that Princess Diana and I have been trying to make things right since Ilder passed, and our own efforts to find happiness should not be thwarted by the people we're trying to help. You have changed, Sir Fritz. I remember your gentleness from when I first knighted you. Even now, you wear a smile on your face in trying times. You remain dedicated to our kingdom, even when it is broken and ailing. You still smile, but now you smile with confidence. You have my blessing, Sir Fritz, so long as you have my daughters. Remember that I said to you, I have bestowed upon you the title of Lord. No one, not even the nobles, can look down on you. Hold your head proud. He turns to me. The same goes to you, Diana. I appreciate your reminder. I should know that love knows no boundaries. He smiles fondly, and I can tell he's thinking of Ophelia. A small pain echoes somewhere inside my heart, but it feels misplaced and distant. The wounds of the past may still hurt, but they are healing. Our conversation with father does not last much longer. After speaking briefly on some technical process Fritz must now undergo to obtain his new title, the king excuses us from the throne room. Outside in the hallway, Fritz seems equal parts relieved and deflated. I was expecting to come out of that feeling lighter. Father's concerns will continue to weigh on me. Fritz forced a smile on his face. He is always good at making it seem as if he's fine, even when I know that he must be hurting on the inside. Well, that went better than I expected. Fritz. He grabs my hands and plants a kiss on my forehead. I think I'm going to attend to those obligations the king mentioned. I still need to return some documents and my armor, but after that I will make sure I'm available to you for the rest of the day. He squeezes my hand. Perhaps we could even spend two nights together? I forgot this starts on chapter 1. I was thinking about a night out in town, but your thoughts seem to be on other things. He raises an expectant eyebrow. When I nudge him in the shoulder, the cocky grin fades from his face and he is replaced by a smile that oozes innocence. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe he wears that innocence like a child, like a shield. Anyway, I'll be back later. Let's meet up in your room in 2 hours, Chan. He starts to bow, but then suddenly stops, realizing he no longer needs to. Instead, he smiles at me, last time before turning and heading in the direction of the commander's office. He may try to hide it, but I can tell he is still distressed by what the king said. Maybe I can buy him something in town. Something that will cheer him up. But what could I possibly purchase for him? Fritz always did love visiting the bakeries. It has been a long time since we have gone to one together. And an even longer time since we shared a pastry. Fritz said his favorite desserts were chocolate croissants. I should buy him one later for later. I nod my head, suddenly feeling resolute, and then head to the palace gates. Much to my surprise, the woman at the bakery remembers me, not as a crown princess, as the peasant that used to come here frequently with Fritz. I am relieved when she greets me with a smile and a bow. She eyes the knights at the door, but says nothing when I order 2 desserts, a chocolate croissant for Fritz and a kosher Danish for myself. This place brings back so many memories. Fritz used to love bringing me to this small bakery. He knew how much I loved dessert and wanted to show me all the best cafes in Angel. I take the 2 desserts and walk out of the small bakery. I sighed with relief as I came out of the small space, relieved to be back in the town plaza, where things are more spacious. A woman smiles as she passes me by. Good afternoon, Your Highness. She curtsies. Good afternoon. She has already walked off by the time I respond. Most of the town folks, while polite, are so quiet around me. They still prefer speaking with Emily on the road. What can I do to make them trust me? What can I do to heal Angel? The two knights trailed behind me as I began to walk back to my carriage. I prefer having it parked in inconspicuous areas so that I am forced to walk around and speak to the town folks. I hope it makes me seem more approachable. I'm still lost in thoughts when I come into an emptier part of the plaza and someone abruptly steps on my path. Take a step back immediately, the knights behind me are at my side in a heartbeat. I apologize. The same woman I just passed. Was she headed in this direction? There's no need to apologize. I'm afraid I wasn't watching where I was going. I'm shocked when a mischievous smile appeared at her lips. I am so fixated on her face I barely registered the sound of shattering glass at my feet. A waft of mist suddenly rises from the ground, making it impossible for me to see anything. Princess! The knight's voice comes from behind me. I feel him grab at my arm. No, wait. His hand is ungloved. I try to pull away, but to no avail. A second stronger hand grips my other arm, pulling me away from the knights and through the mist. My eyes are teary as the strangers pull me. As the strangers pull me away from the area, I struggle to clear my thoughts as we emerge into an alleyway. When I look up, I see the woman from earlier. A man stands beside her, arms crossed. That was a little too easy. Honorable Knights of Caldera, Seems that we can still get the better of them, even without magic. These people are... They turn to look at me. Hello, Princess Iviana. What is the meaning of this? You really can't guess, little Miss Princess. The man looks at me with surprising calmness. We're thinking you also. What? Don't try anything funny. We don't want to hurt you. But we will if we need to. I glare at the two of them. What is that you threw back there? A mist potion. One of the last left in jail. The woman scolds at me. As you know, there is no more potion making. Not in a world where magic no longer exists. Some of the others thought we ought to make you pay for taking away our magic. We're of the opinion that this would be cruel. You should be grateful for that. What do you plan on doing with me? He'll be staying with us for a little while until we can decide on a ransom price. If we can't make gold selling our potions, we'll just have to get it some other way. This is cowardly. I'm startled when the woman slaps my face. I step back, eyes wide. I thought we'd said. The woman silenced the man with a glare. She turns back to me. What would a little girl like you know of her pain? Lady Hilder was going to make this place for all of us witches to thrive. Instead, because of your meddling, magic is gone forever. And not only that, but the humans who know we are witches still ostracize us, making it impossible for us to get jobs. A spoiled princess like yourself, who has not even tried to bridge that divide, has no business telling us but it's cowardly. I've been too busy trying to mend this kingdom as a whole. I've been trying to gain the people's trust. I thought that with magic on, there would be no more reason for anyone to hate witches. And yet, this discrimination still exists. The partners usher me forward. When I do not come willingly, the man grabs my arm and pulls me behind him. The two begin to traverse a series of complicated hallways that lead deeper and deeper into the town. It almost feels like a labyrinth. The sky darkens in a crimson, then a deep purple as we move forward into the alleyways. I was meant to meet Fritz hours ago. Think about Fritz makes me think of rescue and of the nights that were separated from me. Do the nights even know how to know about these alleyways? I stop abruptly. Must do something. You don't have the luxury of stopping now, princess. Not unless you want to try our patience. The woman makes some dismissive gesture at the man, and he nods his head before walking through the alley ahead of us. Where is he going? None of your business. The woman pulls an iron dagger from her sleeve and holds it to my neck. But don't think his absence gives you any sort of advantage. Harming me would only anger the king they want to ask a ransom for. No, these people will not injure me. And running would be unwise when they know this area better than me. You are aware of how foolish this is, aren't you? I would reckon what it's hardly as foolish as your own mistakes, princess. I swallowed back my retort and narrowed my eyes. Even if you are able to demand a ransom from the king, the knights will stop at nothing to track you down. You are putting yourself in danger. And I meet the woman's gaze with confidence. It is no lie when I say I am trying my best to right the wrongs I committed in the past. I do not intend to let this discriminatory behavior continue. The woman scoffs. How honorable. You think you can barter with us, princess? You think you, the princess no one ever wanted, can save us from this situation? The woman presses the flat of the dagger further into my neck. I gasp before I can help it. I will remember who is in charge here. Oh, do tell. I wonder who it is that needs to be careful. The woman and I turned at the same time to face the source of the voice. Fritz walks toward us from the opposite end of the alley. Come any closer and I'll slit the princess' throat. She brings the dagger closer to my neck, but something silver flashes through the air and cuts the motion short. The dagger falls from her hand. Two daggers lay on the ground. One belongs to the woman, and the other must have been thrown by Fritz. Hey, what's happening here? The man, who I presumed had been scouting the area, has returned. When I catch his sight of Fritz, he moves to stand protectively by the woman's side. Both take a step back as Fritz approaches, eyes flashing dangerously. Don't ask me if I were you. I take a few steps back as well, putting myself as close to Fritz as possible. Fritz glances at me. Princess, are you unarmed? I am. He offers me a tight-lipped smile before turning his attention back to the kidnappers. Looks like it's useless trying to reason with people that have thick skulls. But at least you tried, princess. Thick skulls? It is you humans who have the thick skulls. As witches. She stops abruptly. The realization dawns upon her slowly. There are no witches. Not anymore. I've memorized your faces. No matter how far you run, I'll track you down. Huh, a personal hunting dog, are we? Hey, those are big words from a knight who does nothing but take orders. Oh, I'm surprised when Fritz throws his blade. He has no need to wear the scabbard at his side now that he has given up his title. And yet, here he is carrying a sword and a heartbeat. He has the tip pointed at the man's neck. Allow me to enlighten you. If they are hurt, nothing will change. Please let them go. Fritz puts his fingers to his lips and releases a shrill whistle. The dark spaces in the alleyway, which I had presumed to be empty, suddenly filled with night. Did Fritz let them here? Anyone who puts the princess in danger is to be captured on sight. Fritz pulls back his sword, eyes narrowed. The knights need no further signal. Two of them rushed forward to grab the man and woman from behind. Fritz watches his gaze cold. Eventually, once the kidnappers have been contained, he turns to me with a gentle, if not tired, smile. Are you sure you're okay, princess? I'm fine, Fritz. Those two were witches, or used to be. They wanted to capture me and demand a ransom from the king. They weren't very tactful, were they? I watch as the knights take the former witches away. Both glare at me as they are led down the alleyway before they might have fought back with magic. Now they have nothing. Princess? I feel Fritz's hand on my cheek. Come on, let's go back. I'll need to report this incident to Julian. I turn to Fritz as the two of us are walking out of the alleyway. How did he find me? Practice. I'm a good tracker, princess. When you weren't in your room, I went looking for you. The knight reported that you'd left the palace earlier, so I went searching for you in town. Fritz frowns. You had no idea how worried I was when they told me you'd been captured. I ought to have reprimanded them for losing you so easily. If I was still their commander, I would have. Fritz stops himself and shakes his head. What were you doing out in town? I hold up the wrinkled bag with a sigh. Fritz eyes it with curiosity. For a few moments, he looked puzzled. Then he noticed a pattern in the bag. Oh, he's blushing! I took the now cold croissant out of the bag with a grimace and held it out to him. Croissant? Princess, you shouldn't have. His eyes brighten when he takes the bite. It's delicious. Thank you, I was actually going to take you out to that bakery later tonight. They have a light display that I really want to see. But you went ahead and bought me something anyway. And then you got captured because I wasn't with you. I bristle at his comment. Because he wasn't with me? If I could use magic, I would have been able to defend myself. Or maybe if I had a weapon. Had I been armed, I may have been able to protect myself. I may not have needed to be rescued. I sighed to myself. I thought the knight would give me a sword when I have not been trained to use one. There's nothing I can do to protect myself. After explaining the situation to both Yuri and my father, I'm finally allowed to return to my room. The first thing I do is collapse onto my bed with a sigh. I've not been lying down for long when a knock sounds on the door. Diana? Come in. I sit up as Fritz enters the room. He's smiling his usual smile, but it does not seem to be trying very hard to hide the tiredness in his eyes. I pat the space on the bed beside me. Are you okay, Fritz? Right as rain. He's most definitely not. He slides onto the bed beside me and slowly, almost hesitantly, settles an arm around my waist, pulling me closer. I'm just relieved to know that we got to you today, before the situation got any worse, Princess. Fritz? You don't have to call me by my title anymore, you know? He had to do it as a knight of Caldera, but is no longer knight. I'm relieving you from the responsibility. Fritz laughs sheepishly. Some habits die hard. There is a moment of silence between the two of us. I note a telltale tension in his body and stifle aside. I made it more easy then. Had I been able to escape earlier, I may not have needed anyone's assistance. It occurs to me that this is not the first time I have lamented my inability to fight back. As a princess, my life is technically always in danger. Knowing now to defend myself would be extremely helpful. I close my eyes and frown, unable to stop my thoughts from flooding into with familiar faces, all of them now gone. Arwan, Laura, Parfait. I still believe I would have been able to save them if I had made wiser decisions, known how to fight back. I do not want anyone else to get hurt because of my own weakness. Diana? Fritz pulls a strand of rose hair away from my face. May I ask you for some advice, Fritz? Of course, anything. I would like some means of protecting myself. Fritz furrows his eyebrows. Diana, next time you go out, I'll make sure to be with you. Fritz, I want to be able to protect myself. Fritz looks at me quietly. Then, much to my surprise, he smiles, not a little grimly. I don't have much advice, but I do have this. He points to his wrist, turned to watch in awe. As he slides the dagger out of his sleeve, he hands it to me. Isn't it forbidden for knights to carry concealed weapons? The town folks must always be able to see what the knights carry. The rule was implemented a few years ago, and after the chaos that befell Angel. All those granted the right to carry weapons must carry them out in the open. It is our way of building trust with the denizens of the kingdom. Much to my surprise, Fritz grins at me. I'm not a knight anymore, am I? The expression fades as he puts his finger to the flat surface of a blade. I cannot help but stare at the elaborate design on the hilt. It is beautiful. Where did you get this? It belonged to my mother, a long time ago. Fritz has barely spoken of his mother. All I know about her is that she died when Fritz was very young. My father gave it to her as a gift. She wanted it for the same reasons you did. Suddenly, his expression is melancholy. He dips his head and frowns. Fritz, you do not need to speak about her if you do not wish to. No, it's not that, it's just... I just remember that the day my mother died, she didn't have this dagger with her. I've had it for a long time, but I never started keeping it on me until... His voice fades. The flicker of gloom in his eyes tell me that he's remembering the events of 2 years ago. Though I have tried to block out many of my memories from that time, I cannot forget the dagger Fritz once pointed at his own throat. It was a dagger he kept idling up his sleeve. The dagger Varg used to threaten us. Well, I've had it for a while, but now it's yours. Keep it just in case I can't be there. The last thing I want is for you to be in any danger. I look down at the dagger, contemplating. I would like to learn how to use it. A weapon is useful only when you know how to wield it. Of course. I'll be more than happy to teach you when I have some time on my hands. He nails sharply. I stare in alarm, as panic flits across his face. Fritz? It's nothing, princess. I still have to give my detailed report, but I promise I'll be free tomorrow morning. He walks through the door, but then pauses and glances back at me. Vienna, I love you, and I'm glad I can say that without worrying about anything getting in the way. I love you too, Fritz, with all my heart. The two of us exchange smiles before he walks out the front door. Once I'm alone, my eyes return to the beautiful dagger in my lap. Feels like Fritz has given me a part of himself. Do not get this earlier distress out of my mind. The dagger is a comfort, but it also feels foreboding, like it might be the trigger to something ominous. I hid it away in one of my drawers before falling back on my bed. It takes me a long time to fall asleep that night. Right as rain. And then, both sat there, grown up, yet children at heart. And it was summer, warm, beautiful summer. When I reached the end of the fairy tale, I stopped to look down at the pages, thoughtful. I'm not sure how to feel about this one. I snapped the book shut and gazed at the cover quietly. The Snow Queen. It's one of Emmeline's fairy tales. She gave She just recently received it for her birthday and allowed me to borrow it for my reading sessions. I turned my attention to the gravestone, and I am sitting in front of. Though the sky is dark, the inscription on the grave is illuminated by my lantern. It is Laura's name. I hope that you and Laura enjoy the fairy tale at least. I've been reading at this gravesite for the last 4 months. Originally, I only came here to set flowers on the graves, but then Fritz suggested I try speaking to everyone. I was skeptical at first, but it turns out that reading helps lighten my mood when I'm here. I like to imagine Laura and her daughter listening to the fairy tales as I read them aloud. Something soft lands on my head. I stop to gaze up at the sky. A single droplet makes its way down a leaf and lands on my nose. Rain? It's been a while since it's rained, hasn't it? I turn to glance at Fritz. He has been leaning against a tree for the past half hour, keeping a lookout for danger while I read. Amazing, isn't it? Even in the summer, we have these rainy days. He glances up at the sky and cocks his head, a soft smile on his lips. Have I ever told you that I love the rain? No, I had no idea. I pick up both the lantern and book and stand up. My gaze flickers briefly. The 4 gravestones lined up in a row. Carolyn Laura Parfait and another. I've already set lilies on all 4, as I do every month. It always accompanies me here on these days. Of times, he sends cards from somewhere nearby with a melancholy look on his face. Well, now you know. When I was a child and my father wasn't home, I used to run outside and catch raindrops on my tongue. He always scolded me for it. He said I'd catch a cold. It is hard to imagine a time when Alcaster warded for his son. Alcaster, the previous commander of the Order of Calderon and Fritz's father, has been banished from Angel for more than 2 years. No one has seen him since he disappeared. Sometimes I wonder if Fritz ever wishes to see him again. But consider everything that happened between them, I thought their reunion would be a happy one. I turned my thoughts back to our conversation. And did you ever catch a cold? Yes, more than a few times. I enjoyed those sick days though. My father would brilliantly make me tea, and the 2 of us would talk about his adventures as a knight. Those were good days. Besides, I feel like an old man when I reminisce about like this. I poked Fritz in the shoulder with a teasing smile. Because 23 is old. Oh, we just got his age. I didn't remember that. Ancient in the eyes of a child. He takes my hand, and as another droplet lands on my neck, the slight chill in the air gives me more reason to slide up to him. I press myself to his side and smile when he wraps an arm around my waist. He takes a lantern from me and holds it up to light our way through the forest clearing. The 2 of us are the outskirts when he turns to me. Do you mind if I escort you to the palace and meet up with you later, princess? What did you just call me? Sorry, that just comes so naturally. Anyway, Would that be alright with you, Diana? And where would you be going? I need to do some cleaning at the manor. Then after that, I need to gather a few materials for our children. I glance up at the sky again. I'm able to see it more clearly through the canopies now. It looks cloudier, darker. The rain has picked up. My family has dinner with some estimated guests tonight. If I run that errand with Fritz, there is a possibility I will get caught in the rain and show up late. Though my presence is not required, it might be better for me to be there. I pause to consider the warmth of Fritz at my side and falter. But being beside him like this is nice, especially because he has been so busy lately. It is not as if I need to be at dinner tonight, and I haven't been able to spend much time with Fritz, so this is fine. Oh, you're not busy today? Not any busier than normal. It is not as if I will be gone for the rest of the night, and besides, I lean in closer. It is remarkable how warm he is, even now. I would much rather spend time with you while you are still here. I have a tendency to disappear when I'm not watching you. Oh? I take my eyes off you for too long. You vanish into thin air. He laughs. Every good night knows how to be inconspicuous. Besides, rams his finger gently against my hip, and raises an eyebrow. Sometimes you see more interesting things closer in the shadow. You make it sound as if you are spying on people. I don't spy on people, Diana. I'm just observant. This is true. Fritz is incredible perspective. He knows more about me than anyone else. The image of you hiding in the shadows is rather ominous. Not at all worrying? He pauses to face me, his eyes so golden against his dark skin, seem to shine beneath the shade of the canopies. Neither of us speaks. Fritz brings his thumb to the bottom lip and slowly runs his thumb across it. Lots of things happen in the shadows. Part of the allure is that whatever happens is a secret, don't you think? Fritz looks at me for a long moment, then he grins. Never ceases to amuse me. Amuse you? He backs away from me and holds out a hand. I take it, allowing him to pull me through the last of the trees and into the town square. I'm not amusing. You wear your emotions on your sleeve, princess. It's precious. I simply prefer honesty. I still have difficulty opening up to people, and I would rather not show weakness in front of anyone, but I've gotten better. Fritz? Yes, Diana? You are honest with me too, right? Of course. His slow answer gives me pause, but I say nothing. Fritz's eyes are already on our surroundings, watching everything and everyone around us warily. The rain has begun to pick up, so I hold the book closer to my chest as we make our way through the manor. We only stop to pick up food. The streets grow colder as we walk. A bitter chill It hangs in the air, and I draw closer to Fritz without thinking. He wordlessly dropped an arm on my shoulder and holds the lantern close. He glances up at the sky, a fond smile on his lips. It is warm as sunshine, and yet he really does love cold, rainy days, doesn't he? The two of us make our way back to this manor in a peaceful silence. Inside, Fritz takes everything I have and sets it down on the table. He lays out a meal for the two of us, and then takes a seat at the table beside me. The meal is thankfully simple, nothing but a variety of small sandwiches. Simplicity is nice for a change, after so many extravagant meals at the palace. So, what sort of cleaning do you need to do? There are some items in my room I need to gather and return to the order. Then I need to organize some documents for Jurian. And when that is all done, what will you do? Fritz stares at me blankly. The look takes me by surprise. Will you have any other obligations to the order? Oh. He smiles a little sheepishly. There might be a few more things, but I should be done by the end of the week. The room quiets as we focus on the meal. I'm not bothered by the silence. I've always found these moments of quiet relaxing, especially in Fritz's company. The silence persists until Fritz gets to his feet and smiles down at me. How about some warm tea for the cold weather? That would be nice, thank you. Alright, give me a few moments then. He's on his way to the kitchen when he stops and glances over his shoulder. Feel free to make yourself at home. He disappears into the kitchen, leaving me by myself. When he's gone, I am aware of how absolutely still the manor is. The only sounds I hear are coming from outside. I make my way to the window and stare outside baffled. It's pouring. The streets are mostly empty, filled with nothing but deep puddles. No wonder it's so quiet. I turn away from the window and begin to wander around the living room. Not much has changed since I first came here 2 years ago. The house is still impersonal, even when it belongs only to Fritz. At least, that is what I think. But as I am looking around, I came across a small framed illustration that does not look familiar to me. It is a small portrait, but the woman featured in it makes me pause. Her hair is white as the clouds, her eyes a soft brown, her smile is gentle and reminds me of Fritz. I pick the frame portrait up and flip it over. There are words written on the back in a cursive slant. I read them aloud. To my wife, you are the sun, and I the world. I hope that I can continue to bask in your warmth for the rest of my days. The signature beneath takes me by surprise. Alcaster? I face the kitchen, my heart beating erratically, and my chest as I set the portrait down. I am even more surprised when I notice Fritz standing behind me, holding a simple tray with a single teacup on it. His eyes stray onto the floor, and I follow his gaze to see another teacup turned over and broken. Are you okay? Fritz lets out a nervous laugh. I'm fine, Divina. It was just a clumsy misstep. He sets the tray down on the table, walks off, and returns with materials to clean up the shattered cup and spill the tea. When he is done, he gestures absently at the remaining teacup, though he is smiling at me. His gaze seems far away. He looks shaken. Take the teacup from him with some worry. Sorry about that. You can have that cup. I'll go make myself another. I cradle the teacup in my hands and gingerly take a sip. The tea is warm and soothing and helps to relieve some of the tension in my body. What do you think? You don't like it? No, it's perfect, but I think you need it more than I do. I'm fine, Viviana. I was just accidentally tipped the tray and sit down and drink for it. His shoulders sag as he falls down into a chair at the table and takes the teacup from my hands. After some moments' hesitation, he begins to drink. 2 years ago, when I was stressed, Boris treated me to a mug of hot chocolate because it helped calm the nerves. Tea had a similar effect. Better? Fritz lowers the teacup and smiles apologetically. I'm sorry. Apologies are necessary, Fritz. But you obviously have something on your mind. Have I really become so easy to read? I can't tell the difference between your clumsiness and your distress. I place my hand over his, and for a few moments, this allows me to see past his usual facade. I am aware of the sadness in his eyes. When he does not speak, I move my hand away with a sigh. I glance back at the portrait that I had picked up earlier. To my knowledge, that portrait has never been displayed in this room. That wasn't here before, was it? No. I just recently put it out. I found it in my father's room and decided to display it in here. Fritz eyes the portrait with a sorrow so profound it makes my heart aches. I don't really remember my mother's face, but I knew that was her the moment I saw her face. I'm sorry, I reacted so strangely when you picked it up. My mind went blank when you read those words aloud. In a while since I've read them. For a few moments, Fritz's eyes are far away. One of his hands forms a fist as he looks sullenly down at the table. When he said my father's name, sighs. It's hard sometimes remembering my father as someone who could actually love. His words on the back of the portrait remind me of the man he used to be. Fritz and his father never seemed to get along. I never knew how terrible their relationship was until I learned that Alcasar was the one who cursed Fritz. He might not have been the one to cast the magic, but he was the one who gave the commands, and that is worse. I always hoped that Alcasar loved Fritz. How could he, when he was the one who to curse him? Fritz leans back in his chair, with a defeated expression on his face. You know, sometimes I think I've become exactly like him. Like my father. I stared at him uncomprehending. What? Fritz, you are not like Alcasar. Are you sure? I do to believe that all knights were righteous, and that the citizens of Angel were flawlessly kind-hearted. My father told me that that was a naive notion, and I always judged him for being so critical of people. I strove to prove him wrong. Now I think I understand what he meant when he said that people abuse kindness. His expression is as dark and gloomy as the weather outside. People are always looking for someone to hate. They hide it behind smiles and pleasantries, but in the shadows, they plot and scheme and blame their hardships on others. He looks at me, and I can tell that he's referring to the witches who kidnapped me 3 days ago. Witches, fairies, humans, they're all the same. They're all convenient in their own ways, no matter who or what they are. It sounds like mother. You give them some power and they abuse it. You show them kindness and they walk all over you. People only bow their heads to those they fear. He breaks off suddenly. His hands are shaking, but whether from rage or shock I cannot tell. Abruptly, he looks away. You see, it sounds exactly like something my father would say. Something his father would say. Something father would have said. Has Fritz really felt that way all this time? I do not know what happened to Alcasser to make him so bitter. I do not know what happened to make him despise all those around him. But I do know about Fritz's circumstances. I know he has been pressured for a very, very long time. I know that he has given far more than he has ever received. And I know that sometimes he forces a smile on his face to hide his true feelings. I just think Fritz was relentlessly optimistic, but the last 2 years have changed him. I walk over to him. He's still staring down at the table when I wrap my arms around his neck from behind. I don't want to be like him. His voice is just a whisper. You are not like him. Your father allowed hatred to consume his life, but you battled the compulsion relentlessly. He was pessimistic about everything, but you hide your negative feelings away in the hope that you can overcome them. You are strong, Fritz, strong enough to shoulder your own burdens and to still carry mine on your back as well. You're the strongest person I know. I plant a kiss on the top of his head. Every time you feel like this, please come talk to me. I tell you about my concerns, and I want you to be able to speak to me too. I pull away so that I can face him. Let me help you the same way you have helped me. Fritz looks up, our eyes connected. The smile on his face does not reach his eyes. Some knight in shiny armor, am I? I can't even remain optimistic for my princess. Oh? I was under the impression that you were no longer a knight. Oh my god. I got you. I know me. How was your stream? Did you have fun? Also, why were you an otter? Why weren't you a cat? This feels outrageous. To be fair, I think I was so into the dialogue. I got jump scared by my own red alert. But, well, let's just do the introduction. So, hi, welcome Nomi and everyone from Nomi's Raid. If you need to go, take care of yourself. Nomi, please go have dinner. Feel free to do so. For who doesn't know me, my name is Viviana Lunalepus, the audition for short. I'm a human AI hybrid and normally do arts and craft streams, productive streams, or gaming streams like I'm doing right now. If anyone is interested, these are my social media. And I'm also part of Virtually Magazine, a magazine for VTubers from VTubers. But yeah, feel free to everyone from Nomi, Nomi feel free to go, take care of yourself. Nomi, go have dinner. Because I'm here, I don't hold any guns to you, so please feel free to do your own thing and take care of yourself. Nomi, go have dinner. And yeah. No, don't worry. You are still on time, Leo. You are still on time. No, it's still on time. The expression for... Don't worry, I have my guard up. His expression falls even further at that, and I immediately regret my words. I know then that there is more of Fritz's minds than he is telling me. I know, however, that he will not share any of it. Fritz always shuts down when he thinks he's inconveniencing me. About the otome game that I'm playing right now. This is actually a sequel of a game that I played some time ago. I started like back in 2018 and I only finished it last year because it was the first game I streamed as well. But yeah, the game is called Cinderella, is free on Steam and is basically an otome game where the protagonist is cursed with a fairy tale curse. It's all going around the fairy tale curse and our character is trying to break it while we learn about our past as like our parents, ourselves, and we become a better person, plus we make bonds and eventually fall in love with one of the 5 guys. Also, you pick the road here, and in that game you had bad and good ending, and every character, like us and the 5 guys that we can have a romantic interest in, are all cursed with one fairy tale curse, and it's basically like Hans. There is a guy named Hans. It's a bunch of like fairy tale writers' names mixed together, but the main name is Hans. He created fairy tales, and on those fairy tales, witches were good and fairies were bad, which created problems to the witches in the real world because they start being hunted and killed. So the queen of the witches create a fairy tale curse, start to spread it to humans, and start killing them. And the war began, and then and we get cursed with a fairy tale curse, and then we meet other characters that also have a fairy tale curse. The other fairy tale curse are Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Peter Pan, Red Riding Hood, and Rumpelstiltskin. And basically, the other game is 10 chapters, and it's basically us finding about ourselves, trying to break the curse, becoming a better person, developing the relationship, and defeating the enemy. While this game is a sequel that is only 6 chapters and is literally and has a good and a best ending. Here there is no bad ending, it's good or best, and it's basically just us building our relationship and deepening it with the character. Here there is like no fighting, no new story, which is also good. My favorite boy isn't here. I think he barely appears in this story, but my favorite one is Walt. So I'm leaving it for the last. So my favorite one is Walt. He's best boy for me. So yeah. Carmen and Fritz are kind of like in the same place. Like it's Walt, then it's Carmen, Fritz, then it's Rumpel, and for last is Rod, because Rod is our stepbrother and I don't want that. I want that to go away. And hi Scar, how are you? Now may go have dinner. I appreciate it, but go have dinner. Yeah. Yeah, I saved best road for last. Also, what I did first on the other game was, first I would do the bad ending, then I would do the good ending, so we cry on the bad ending first, and then we also cried on the good ending, but it wasn't as painful. And here we do the good ending first, and then we do the best ending after. I'm not kicking you out, I'm concerned about your well-being. As my mod, as my friend, as my Oshi, as my senpai, I'm concerned about you. Also just streamed. The atmosphere in the room is heavy, and the rain does not help the mood. It is impossible to cheer Fritz up in such a dismal place. I look up and focus on the rain drumming on the window pane. At first, my mind is blank, filled with nothing but the soft sounds of the rain. Then, suddenly, an idea occurs to me. I'm doing okay as well. Please stay hydrated, Scar, and everyone on chat that is suffering from the heat. Nah, it's fine. Because also you don't do the 5 routes at the same time. You pick one route and then like it's literally on the first game after chapter 2, because chapter 1 and 2 are like common route that is just for you to meet them. Then before chapter 3 you pick one of the boys. It literally like gives you a thing to choose, so it's easy. And here is the same. Here you just start and they immediately ask you the boy. No, I actually can imagine. There are games that are like that. And I'm proud that you learned to find food. I also thank you for the redeems. But yeah, there are games that you are actually doing several roles at the same time. There are others that you pick a guy. Like you have options like this that you pick a guy. There are others that you are literally doing several roles at the same time. I will give you 2 examples of those. Aldaria and Amour Secret. I don't remember the name in English. I think it's Candila, something like that. Free Otome games on the internet. Procure problema. Yeah, it's actually really overwhelming. I like those, like that is literally how I started, but I prefer like this, like I can take time on the history, I can know the characters better, blah blah blah. And I can collect all the images. And like this I can collect like everything. In the other way it's like there is, depending how many answers you gave to a character on that chapter, that's what determines who are you going to in the end of the chapter as a date, what clothes you go to wear, what image you get. It's so like, I like it, but I stand and flash a smile at Fritz. Am I going outside? Why am I asking? I'm going outside. Wait, Vivian! I step outside before he can stop me. The moment I step outside, the rain cools my skin. It is coming down so heavily, my dress is soaked in mere minutes. Diviana, what are you doing? Fritz stands in the doorway, staring at me owlishly. He looks equal parts confused and amazed. I turn and laugh. Hi, Wade, how are you? Thank you for the care package. You had already done the care package, you didn't need to redeem points. Oh, I put 2 exclamation points, that is why it doesn't. Looking forward for tomorrow, and good luck, don't overwork yourself. What is it, old man? Are you afraid you'll get wet if you follow me out here? Fritz is gaping at me. It looks like a fish out of water, which makes me laugh even harder. I prefer this look on his frown to the frown he was wearing earlier. Now, if only I could get him to smile. Of course not. But Ivana, you're going to get soaked. I think it's a little too late for that, Fritz. I turn and begin to walk away. Fritz chases after me. There is no one out in this rain. I do not have to worry about being approached. I break into a run. I have no idea how far I can get before Fritz closes the distance between us, but I feel that I need to get him away from that house. Inside, he becomes trapped with memories and people who are lost to him. He allows sadness to consume him. Diviana, where are you going? I dunk into an opening between the trees. My footsteps do not shatter the quiet reverie of the forest. In fact, the forest feels even more peaceful beneath the steady downpour. It is not long before I hear Fritz behind me. I have only just tucked beneath the branches of a looming tree when I feel his hand on my back. I turn and am shocked when I see the crooked grin on his face. I find myself backing into a tree before I can help it. Fritz draws closer and closer, until that grin is mere inches away from my face. Well. He is close enough that I can feel his breath on my cheeks. I shudder, and I'm not entirely sure it is because of the rain or Fritz's expression. Looks like you've been caught, Miss Runaway. His smirk is short-lived. It soon fades into a frown so cold it makes my heart sink. What will you do now? How do you plan on escaping? I can see something in Fritz's eyes, something I've seen before, a challenge. I try throwing myself against him, but Fritz quickly stops my movement by pressing himself closer to me. I gasp, timidly aware of the warmth of his body. Even beneath us so close, it radiates a lulling heat. I look up at him with determination, but falter when I notice emptiness on his eyes. Burn trails down his skin, making it look as if there are tears coursing down his cheeks. Fritz? He sets his head on my shoulder. He is so close I can feel his heartbeat reverberating through my body. Viviana, I can't lose you. Fritz? Slowly, his fingers fall away from my wrists. He raises his head slightly, but his voice is nothing but a whisper. If someone trapped you like this in a alley, if you weren't able to take out the dagger in time, if you were kidnapped, that wasn't with you. He takes a deep, shaky breath. If anything ever happened to you, I would never forgive myself. I cannot help but recall what Fritz said about the dagger he gave me. He told me that it was his mother's, that the day she died, she did not take it with her. Was his mother killed? I think back to Fritz's anxiety, to the faraway look on his face, in his eyes when he discussed his father and mother. And understands, not completely, but I put my hands on Fritz's chest and slowly, gently, push him away so that I can look into his eyes. You will never lose me. I hold this case with confidence. My friends died so that I could continue to hope for a better world. Those of us who survived have the obligation to keep that dream alive. I believe in you, Fritz, so please, believe in me. Fritz breathes out softly. Once again, I feel the warmth of his breath on my cheeks. I continue to look at him, waiting. Finally, the silence breaks and and he smiles at me softly. It is a smile and fragile smile, but the honesty it is reliving. You really are something else, Viviana. He pulls a strand of wet hair from my face and cups my face in his hand. Yes, I trust you. He bridges the gap between us in a heartbeat. Our lips met, and despite the bitter cold of the air around me, I still lonely warm. I do not protest when he slides his hand down to the length of my back and to my waist. Our kiss, which starts small and hesitant, eventually grows deeper, bolder. The feeling of the rain on my skin fades completely as I focus on the sensation of his lips against my own, on the comforting and stable press of his body. When Fritz finally pulls away from me, his mischievous smile is enough to send a shudder of anticipation coursing through me. Strange. I could have sworn you weren't a witch anymore. And yet, I have the distinct feeling you have put me under a spell. He twines his fingers through mine and with a smile. Have you had enough of this rain? But as long as you're feeling better, yes. After that, who wouldn't? I nudge him in the shoulder, but he just laughs merrily. Let's return before you catch a cold. The two of us make our way back through the forest and toward his home. Once we are back inside, Fritz releases my hand that shakes his head, scattering raindrops over the floor. Despite our best efforts to dry ourselves, we both still make puddles on the floor. Fritz claps a hand on my shoulder. His touch, even to the fabric of my clothes, sends an electricity coursing through my body. I can prepare a bath for you, princess. That should help warm you up. Oh, sorry, Diviana. I would prefer you keep me warm instead. The words are slippery and are out of my mouth before I can regret them. Fritz stares at me, looking equal parts flustered and shocked. Then, slowly, his lips begin to curl into a smile. Is that an order? Yes. Well then, as you command, Your Highness. He slides behind me and plants a kiss on the nape of my neck. Before I can react, he picks me up and walks through his bedroom, with a cocky smile on his face. This is actually a lot more convenient. I was wondering where I was going to find you a change of clothes, but now it looks like I needn't worry. He pushes the door of the bedroom open with his foot and walks me inside, into a quiet and gentle darkness punctuated only by the soft rattle of the rain against the windows. The two of us spent some time in each other's company, laying close enough together to stay warm in the cold and silent home. By the time I return to the palace, the cold has abated, and I'm filled with the lingering and hopeful warmth. You think I'm right during this time? It has been 3 days since the intense rainfall. 3 days since I very nearly spent the night in Fritz's home. I would have probably slept the night away in his arms if not for the fact that I suspect the palace guard would come looking for me if I did not return. Fritz and I walked back to the palace the first opportunity we got, but that did not stop my family from worrying. Ever since that day, Fritz has been sleeping in his room at the palace. Whether to be closer to me or to avoid going back to his home, I'm not sure. Perhaps it is both. Fritz leans against my desk with a smile, calm and collected as usual. Don't have much time before I have to meet with the king, but you called me here because you had a special request, right? What can I do for you? I sit up a little straighter on my bed, hoping that my gaze holds nothing but resolve. I want Fritz to take my next words seriously. I've been thinking about this ever since he gave me that dagger. Fritz, I would like for you to teach me something. Teach you something? Teach me how to defend myself. Defend yourself? Oh. Understanding lights his face when I reach into my drawer and pull out the knife he gave me. I mentioned this before, but carrying around this knife is useless if I do not know how to use it. It is not just about using the knife, though. I would like to learn to protect myself even without the weapons. Think back to the moment Fritz captured me in the forest. He told me to free myself, and I wasn't able to do so. Even if I wanted to, I would have been able to reach for my knife. I'd rather you didn't have to use the knife at all. And if I have to? I know how protective Fritz is. I know he does not want to hurt me or watch me be hurt. And that is why I believe he will give in to this request. Even something simple will help. I do not want to be a burden, Fritz. Not to you and not to myself. I may no longer have magic, but that does not mean I am incompetent. Finally, Fritz relents. His sullen gaze slips into a smile. I love your confidence, Vivian. It's inspiring. I'll do anything to protect it, to protect you. So yes, I'll teach you the basics of defense. I only hope you'll never have to be in another situation where you have to use the techniques. Thank you, Fritz. You never need to thank me, Viviana. Well, we'll do our practice in the forest. There you can learn both invasion and defense. He stands up and, when he raises his eyebrows, you can see familiar confidence, challenge sparkling in his eyes. He steps forward and plants a kiss on my lips. I'm looking forward to seeing you triumph. I will triumph, I promise. I believe it. Fritz offers me one last smile before excusing himself to run the day's errands. The shadow of a memory. Ta-da! I don't know what happened to me there. I think it's... Dining hall is lively this morning, filled with the voices of my shattering family. The four of them have been discussing some kind of upcoming ball, but my thoughts are elsewhere. Mina, did you do your dailies? And also, hi! No matter how hard I try, I cannot dispel the image of the rain running down Fritz's cheeks like tears. Why are you happy? Fritz always smiling by the end of the night, but his sadness still seems to linger. I have to find some way to help him overcome it, but how? I'm happy for you then. Oh, wait, I've forgotten about Milan. I think this is the first time she appears in, like, Fritz World. Viviana? Viviana. Rod's voice is loud enough to break me from my reverie. I look up at him, startled. He just rolls his eyes before going back to his breakfast. I'm so proud of you. Now stretch. The trick, Em, is to say her name loudly enough to startle her out of her thoughts. Thank you, I appreciate you for stretching and taking care of yourself. Oh, I'll keep that in mind. I rumble as the two of them exchange a smile. You need me for something? We wanted your opinion on a theme for the upcoming ball, dear. My opinion? I do not care what sort of theme it has. Emily and Ophelia are better at planning these elaborated affairs anyway. You at least need to give us your opinion on the finalized concepts. Wait for Ophelia to list the ideas. In the end, I consent to a mixed floral theme. Ophelia thinks it would be nice for the summer. It hardly matters. The noblemen and ladies will come regardless because it's a royal ball. Later, then the conversation dwindles and the food is finished, servants begin to clear breakfast from the table. Father reminds me of a council meeting later in the day before excusing himself. Ophelia is quick to follow, saying she needs to work on plans for the ball. I'm left with Emmeline and Rod. So, how is Sir Fritz doing? Fine, I think. You think? He has been extraordinarily busy. I thought I had thought his resigning would mean no more obligations, but he still has so many loose ends tied up. I hope he can have breakfast with us again soon. Is something wrong? I was just thinking about the last time he had breakfast with us. Oh. For a few moments, the dining hall is quiet, save for the clatter of plates and utensils as the kitchen staff removes them from the table. Last time Fritz was here, he managed to accidentally impale the table with a fork and knock over a platter of fruit. He also nearly hit a man in the head with a spoon. Well, it was a fun memory to look back on. How did he manage to throw the spoon backwards at one of the servants? It slipped out of his hand. It is remarkable how Fritz can be so composed one moment and shockingly clumsy the next. I believe he said he was extremely tired that day, but Camilla laughs. Sir Fritz is a wonder. He is. Ever since that incident, he has purposely avoided invitations to breakfast. I clear my throat. Well, I have some morning runs to run with Fritz, so I'll excuse myself early. Emmeline and Rod both look at me quizzically. He runs? Personal runs. Tell father I'll be back in time for the council meeting. The three of us exchange farewells before I head out. And here we are. After leaving the dining hall, I went to the front gate to meet Fritz, who was there just after 10, as promised. He walked me to the edge of the forest, along with three of his most trusted guards. As soon as we reached the clearing, he told the guards to scatter. Today is the day he teach me how to defend myself. Is there a reason you brought other knights with us? To watch the perimeter, just in case. He is cautious as always. He takes my hand and leads me over to a tree stump. Lady? He bows when I sit down. He smiles at me. Lord Fritz? I laugh when he blushes. So far, I do not think anyone than the knights used to train have used this new title. He coughs to clear his throat. I'll give you the rules of our exercise before we start. Rules? Yes. The goal is to keep me from touching you by any means necessary. The only thing you aren't allowed to use is the dagger. He glances at the small pocket of my dress. I never told him I had it on my pocket. What did he know? Well, we'll have to use the dagger later, when I become more accustomed to its weight, but for now... He takes a step forward. Between one step to the next, a wolfish grin appears on his face. You are going to hide and run and do whatever it takes to get away from me, because in this exercise I'll be hunting you. Hunting? The look on his face reminds me of the smirk he was wearing in the forest yesterday. It is a smile that will always remind me of her. Viviana? He looks at me concerned. Too much? No, I was just thinking about something. I stand from the tree stump with renewed resolve. I'm ready. Good. This is just a test run, so no pressure. Just do what you think is instinctively best, and we'll work on your lesson from there. I'm glad to hear that, Mina. I hope we are going to be able to rest. Especially because I hope that you haven't been going to bed late, like some time ago. I'm judging you. I have not done something like this since I was a child. Only back then, the running was nothing more than a game. I clenched my hands into face a nod. Remember to stay in the forest, Iviana. I take a few steps back, waiting for him to sign up. Much to my surprise, Fritz only closes his eyes and crosses his arms. You what? I'm concerned now. I'll give you a 10-second head start. Immediately begins counting down after that. And without another thought, I turn on my heels and run. I run as fast as my legs can take me, doing my best to weave through the forest bramble as quietly as I can. Eventually, the sound of counting stops. I hear Fritz take one step, then another, and then he's running into the forest after me. My heartbeat picks up as he draws near. Even though it is Fritz, I cannot stop myself from shaking. What should I do? Fritz is a fast runner, and I have no doubt he will catch me if I continue at his pace. It might be more effective to hide from him. I quickly scatter the leaves in front of me and sweep them the opposite direction with my foot, hoping that Fritz will assume I have gone the other way. Then I put my back to the nearest tree and hold my breath as he approaches. I do my best to still my breathing, even going as far as the white thumb on my lip, as I press myself into the tree and try to make myself small. It is only when Fritz disappears around the bend that I lose a breath incredulous. Work it? No sooner as a thought occurred to me than that I suddenly hear a voice at my shoulder. Boom! I jump away from the tree with an undignified yell. Then, hurry to reach from something I can use as a weapon. I find a loose branch on one of the trees, snap it off, and hold it before me. Fritz immediately goes on the offensive, reaching out to grab me as I shrink away. I hold the branch up in front of me like a shield. Clever. He stalks just out of range, his footsteps quiet as he circles me. It almost feels like an animal toying with his prey. I am so busy watching Fritz's movements that I do not notice when he suddenly pivots in my direction. I take a step back, but come back with a tree trunk. I lift up my branch, but it is useless. Fritz grabs the branch with one hand and leans forward to plant a kiss on my forehead. Got you. I sigh as I let the tree branch fall from my hand. What you did was wise. Using a branch as a shield? Fritz laughs. Well, yes, but I'm referring to the hiding. There is a reason I wanted to start off like this before moving on to defense. Evasion is important. It's best to avoid a fight if you can. You're pretty good at hiding, but you caught me, because I heard you sigh. Still though, your instincts are good, you know? Anyway, now that the exercise is over, let's move on to defense, shall we? For the next hour, Fritz teaches me the defensive stances. It shows me how to react in certain situations, including ones that are similar to my capture in the alleyway. Come the end of the hour, he has taught me how to break out of someone's grip. The first method involves pulling back on someone's thumb, and the second involves pulling down on their forearm. I am about to ask him to demonstrate one of the holds when I stop, realizing the time. Fritz is one step ahead of me. You have to be getting back now, don't you? Some meeting with the counselors? I nod my head with a sigh. Attendance at these meetings is necessary, not only because I will be Queen someday, but because my father insists I know the various counselors personally. I'll lead you back then. He offers his arm, and I allow him to lead me back to the palace. Council meeting goes on longer than expected. By the time the counselors are finally excused, it is just father and I in the room. I'm exhausted. I fall back in my seat with a soundless sight. Father smiles at me from his seat. Exhausting, isn't it? I nod. It's no wonder you are always so tired. The more meetings you attend, the easier it will become to participate in them. Father eyes the empty thrones on the room with a fond smile on his face. It is at times like this that I am most grateful for family. Look at him, curious. He simply inclines his head. It is always easier to shoulder your burdens if you have loved ones there to pick you up. Before, I shunned others and refused to let myself be part of a family. Did not think I ever needed to depend on anyone. I realized that depending on others is not a weakness but a strength. I allow myself to lean on my family and on Fritz. How Fritz feels comfortable doing the same with me. Viviana? I look up at my father. How are things going between you and Lord Fitzgerald? They're fine. Why do you ask? Perhaps it is not my place to ask, but have you spoken with him recently about what he plans to do after his retirement paperwork is complete? Fritz hasn't mentioned anything to me. But I do not want father to worry needlessly about our relationship. He has spoken about it some. Oh, I'm glad. He seemed at a loss when I spoke to him the other day. Strange. I wonder why Fritz brought this up to father, not to me. I have no doubt he'll help him figure something out. I stand abruptly. If I may, father. Do you mind if I excuse myself for a couple of hours? I have another meeting later, and I would like to enjoy my break while I still can. Of course. Thank you for your hard work, Viviana. Father offers a cordial nod as I leave the throne room. No sooner have I walked out into the corridor than a person steps in front of me, effectively blocking my path. Good afternoon, Viviana. I stumble back in surprise. Fritz smiles apologetically. Sorry, I thought I'd wait out here for you. Where were you even hiding? Hiding? I wasn't hiding, I was just standing right outside the door. Or did I miss him? Fritz's eyes glimmer as he leans toward me. Are you free now? For a few hours. I'm assuming you want to go somewhere? I always want to go somewhere with you, Diana. But yes, if you have the time, I'd like to take you out to town today. There's something I'd like to see. Then, by all means, please lead on. Fritz takes my hand and begins to lead me down the corridor. As we approached the gates, I recalled that father said that in the throne room and paused, considering. He said that Fritz discussed something about the future with him, something he has not yet told me. Is there a reason he does not want to say anything to me? Viviana, is something on your mind? Oh no, I was just thinking about the meeting. There must be a reason Fritz has not said anything yet. I shall leave it be for now. What was the topic today? Was it another meeting about the rising crime rates? More or less. What was the consensus? Most everyone suggested an increase in security. Many of the councillors suggested giving the night work extended hours. Fritz furrows his eyebrows, looking disgruntled. I voted towards the idea. If we wanted to make that work, we will have to increase the number of nights we send out, not the hours we make them work. No offense, but these rich men know nothing about how difficult a knight's job is. I'm no knight, but I know how hard Fritz and Turin work. They do not. Father agreed with me on the matter. He also insisted that Turin be there to provide her own expert's opinion. Like father, He stops suddenly and shakes his head. Never mind. I'm sure His Majesty was glad to have you there to echo his opinions. Yes, but it took a while to convince the councillors. There's a reason the meeting went on for so long. Well, at least it's over now. He squeezes my hand and smiles as we head out toward the gates and into town. Fritz takes me to the edge of the main plaza, where a large crowd is already gathered. I nod my head politely at the townfolk who meet my gaze. What is happening here? It smiles. You'll see, it's a surprise. He leads me to the front of the crowd. I direct my attention to the central object of attention, a large stand. Behind it stands a man I recognize. Hello everyone, my name is Waltz, and today I will be telling you all a story. I had no idea Waltz had a show planned for today. Waltz begins his show with a practice is of a long-time performer. Today he has puppets, and is sitting behind his stand and using them to act out a scene. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a little witch. And the little witch had a best friend who happened to be a human girl. The story goes on, with Waltz playing both the characters. It is a short about a witch who does magic for her friends every day. Then one day, magic disappears. The little witch no longer has any magic with which to impress her friends. For some time, the little witch is ostracized. She feels alone and sad because she no longer possesses the thing she thought made her special. But at the end of the story, the little witch's friends return. The little witch's friends told her that even if she could no longer use magic, it didn't mean her magic was gone. She still had magic. One of the puppets points at the other. Magic that was in the art. He smiles. And regardless of magic that used to exist, we all have magic in our hearts. That is why, even today, the little witch and her friends can live happily ever after. I'm surprised by the loud applause. Do people like the story? It is hard to believe after hearing what my captors said to me. They made it sound as if witches were being discriminated against. I turned to look at Fritz, who is applauding with everyone else. I thought you needed to see this. You're not the only one trying to pick up the pieces from 2 years ago, Tiviana. You're not in this alone. The applause dies away as some of the children rush forward to bombard Waltz with questions. Most people did not know Waltz was a witch until he publicly announced it 2 years ago. He did it, hoping it would help ease tension between the humans and the witches. Fritz leans over and grabs my hand. He pulls me away from the crowd and to the outskirts of the plaza. Once we are safely outside of the area, he turns to me again, one hand on his hip. I was in town earlier when I heard about her waltz show. I knew that I had to bring you here. Thank you, Fritz. And now, Fritz still thinks of me first. He is the most dedicated person I know. Eventually, the crowds begin to dissipate. Waltz, who is in the middle of taking down his stall, pauses when he notices Fritz and I. Princess, Sir Fitzgerald. I just noticed now they are around the same height, and if I'm not mistaken, they're around the same age. He walks through us with a bright smile. It is nice to see you again, Waltz. Waltz bows. You too, Princess. Were you two here for the show? Fritz brought me here to see it. It was a good show with an interesting topic. I heard about the kidnapping. Rumors spread fast in NGL. I'm sorry, Princess. You do not need to apologize. Walt shakes his head. You're bearing a guilt you don't deserve. What happened 2 years ago was a perfect decision, not yours. Given the circumstances, it was the only thing that could be done. Exactly. All of us want to help where and when we can. Bridging the distance between humans and witches is the first step all of us can help it with. I may not have my magic anymore, but that does not mean I've changed any. No, Walt is still unflinchingly optimistic. Walt and Fritz are smiling at me. When my eyes catch Fritz, he takes my hand in his and gives it a gentle squeeze. I turn to look at Walt. It was a great show, Sir Waltz. I was happy to see it. And I was glad the both of you could be here to see it. You ought to come to the town more often. We will both try our hardest, though. Walt flashes us one last smile before returning to his booth, and to the children crowded around it. It sounds as if they are asking him to play a game. I turn to Fritz. We still have some time left. Do you want to take a stroll around town, or perhaps you would like to rest? Some part of me just really wants to speak to Fritz about what I heard earlier. I need to know what it is okay. Fritz is quiet for a few moments. As he considers in the end, he asks if I would be okay accompanying to his home for some tea. I nod my approval, and the two of us begin to make our way there. At as Fritz sets a tray of tea down on the small table in front of us. It is at times like this, when we are sharing tea in your home, that I wonder if you really are an old man stuck in a young man's body. Viviana, I'm offended. Despite his words, he still smiles as he plops down on the cushions beside me. And here I thought that he would make conversation more pleasant. Fritz glances at me after taking a sip of his tea. You want to talk, yes? You always speak to me about your concerns. It's only right if I tell you mine. Though, if I'm being honest, my concern seems a little petty by comparison. Pity? I mean skeptically. You know, I know you, and your problems are never pitied, Fritz. So please, talk to me. You know, you can tell me anything. Thank you, Diviana. Maybe it would help to start at the beginning. Beginning? Have I ever told you why I decided to become a knight? No, you haven't. You were not forced into it, were you? I cannot help but think of the traitorous Alcaster, and of the enormous amount of pressure he always put on Fritz. I would not be surprised if Fritz had felt there was no choice but to follow in his father's footsteps. No, I wasn't. Fritz lowers his teacup and stares into it, his eyes filled with melancholy. Slowly, I slid toward him and leaned my head on his shoulder. Back when I was a child, there was nothing I loved more than listening to my father tell and talk about the night. Because he had such long days, I was usually stuck at home with the servants. They didn't interact with me much, so I usually lonely up until the moment my father returned home with his sword in hand. When he came back, he would tell me stories of the routine. He used to tell me tales of knights in shining armor, of men who protected the kingdom with their lives. He told me about the noble counselors and of Angel's honorable king. The picture he painted were filled with chivalry and heroism. For a few moments, Fritz is quiet, his eyes clouding it with memory. I loved him so much, and I was proud to be his son. That didn't change even when we grew distant. I had always thought my father's dedication to putting the kingdom first was admirable. Later, when I decided I wanted to become a knight, my father trained me, even allowed me to use his own sword. The day he was made commander, we celebrated with this same tea. Bye, Mina, rest well. Sleep well. He draws away from me with a sigh. Suddenly, he looks stiff. Back then, everyone thought of me as his shadow. They said I had no individual aspirations, that I may as well have been a copy of my father. I think I proved them right when I followed my father's footsteps and joined the knights. You're welcome. But he looks at me and smiles gently. I never let the cynicism get to me. When I learned that I was to become the princess' own personal knight, I didn't mind being compared to my father. All of my priorities shifted to you. I saw the way you closed people off, the way you were compared to your mother, and I... He sighs as he picks up his tea. I understood because my whole life, I too, had been compared to my father. But you never lived in your father's shadow. You have always been on your own person, Fritz. Maybe, but either way, the fact remains that for all those years, the only thing I believed myself capable of was being your knight. I was happy to focus on my duties because I had nothing outside of them. His shoulders sag. The truth is, Diviana, I'm terrified of what comes next. I am nothing without my sword and armor. Those people were right. I aspired to be like my father, and even when he was gone, I took up his mantle as commander without complaint. I followed his footsteps exactly, and now that I have to give up on my responsibilities. I have only you. This is what I've been wanting for years, but it sinks even further into the cushions. It skates for long. Now that I'm no longer your personal knight, I have nothing to offer you, Diviana. His voice is small and weak. I love you so much, but I am not good enough for you. I have no plans for my future. Nothing else that I can be beside your knight. What am I without my title? My whole life I've been trying to live up to others' expectations. First my father's, then the king's, and now yours. And I've never been good enough. I set my tea down so that I can look into his eyes. Fritz, that's not true. There is more to you than your past. You have the entire future ahead of you. You can be yourself without anyone ruling over your life. Fritz looks at me. Expression on his face is gloomy. It makes my heart sink. Yes, and that terrifies me, because when am I, Diana? When I do not answer immediately, Fritz leans forward and grabs my hands. Do you know who I really am, Diana? Do you know what sort of person I am beneath all of these expectations? I'm a selfish fool. Fritz, I have known you for a long time. I no longer think that a longer time than most people. I squeeze his hands and look at him confidently, unperturbed. No matter what side of yourself you show me, and no matter what you decide to do with your life, I will always support you. I will always love you. For a long moment, the two of us stare at each other. His expression is carefully blank, as if to conceal his emotions. May I ask you a question, then? You have to promise me to answer truthfully. I promise. He hesitates, but only for a few seconds. Did you ever love Varg? What? The minute Fritz mentions the name, the present falls away from me. Can't make something from nothing. Some part of your precious Fritz become me, princess. There was already something dark and twisted in his soul. The curse just brought it to life. And now, here I am. I guess his emotions about you are too strong. It's rubbed off on me, and now I'm still caring about you too. Stupid. We both know who you'll choose when the time comes. Back then, I did not want Varg to exist, because if it did, it would drive away Fritz. A small dark part of Fritz would overwhelm everything else that he was. That is what scared me most about Varg. Diviana? I love them. Fritz looks at me in surprise. But you always said... I put my finger to his lips. I did not love Varg for himself, but because he was part of you. Fritz stares at me, obviously puzzled. I remember when Mitrus told me that Varg was slowly taking over your minds. I remember how terrified I was. Do you know why? Fritz says nothing, only looks at me mournfully. Because even though Varg was part of you, I did not want him to take over your conscience. When Varg disappeared, I knew he would go back to you. But if you had disappeared, Fritz, Varg would have only ever been a distorted fraction of what you were. He was never meant to exist on his own. But still, Varg was a part of you, and I loved him for that. Its expression crumples as he pulls away from me. Viviana, though I know you are far more complex than just that single facade, I accept that part of you. That's why you asked it, isn't it? Fritz smiles at me. It is half-hearted, but still better than its earlier existence. Thank you, Diana. He slides off to the couch and turns to face me. I apologize for going off on a tangent. I get the impression that the tangent was yet to be adequately explored. Anyway, with that, you know a little bit more about my worries. I didn't plan on saying anything to you until I had come up with a more concrete plan, but... Concrete plan? Yes, a concrete plan for the future. I want to find something else I can be passionate about. Because outside of who and what I've been for the past so many years, I haven't had a lot of time to explore much else about myself. Fritz was always so busy with his duties. He has never prioritized his own hobbies. Come to think of it, what does Fritz do with his spare time? Could they not come up with a plan together? Together? Yes, perhaps you should come up with a list, and we can check off items on the list when we are able to do them. I cannot help but smile at Fritz's confusion. You can list things you want to do or see, or things you like. Then, whenever you have time, I can help you do or see those things. You can have more free time on your hands, don't you? Have more free time on your hands, don't you? If that is the case, then we can find a new future for you together. In the deepest part of my heart, I cannot help but imagine Fritz sitting beside me on the throne. Yet, I am realistic enough to know that this transition would not be easy. It takes two people to make that kind of momentous decision. Besides, Fritz is finally being given the chance to live the way he wants to. I do not want to take that freedom away by forcing him into yet another hole. Perhaps, if we spend more time together, that sort of future will become a reality one day. What do you think? It smiles at me. For a few moments, he holds out his hand. I put my hand in his and smile when we kiss me back at feet. Accept your offer, beautiful Viviana. Thank you. It is my pleasure. Oh, but before any of that, I point at his tea and raise an eyebrow. We need a share tea, Lord Fritz, otherwise it will get cold. You know just as well as I that it's been cold for a while now. But if Her Royal Highness commands it, then I shall obey. He plops back down on the couch and scouts closer to me. Close enough to wrap an arm around my waist. I spend the remainder of my free time at Fred's side, wondering if there is anything I can do to help him beyond the assistance I have already offered. Wolf. And we save here today. Okay, let's see who is streaming, because I don't know. Votes, votes, and votes. Please cooperate with me. Let's. I'm reading Dylan. So the red message would be read. So here's a red message for Wissop. For business sell the red message of this one. Copy my own read message. Great. Yeah. Wait, no, don't do announcement. I wanted to do raid, but I didn't change the announcement. Okay. So thank you so much to everyone joining me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nomi, for the raid. I appreciate it. I'll be back Sunday with more productive stream. I'm not making thumbnails yet. I'm trying to give it a break, but yeah. See you on Sunday. Bye bye.